Bruh, it's been 7 years since we got an episode of Gumball, but that all ends today as the show returns, evolving from being the amazing world of Gumball to becoming the wonderfully weird world of Gumball. And it got a new title sequence, completely new voice actors for Gumball, Anais, and Darwin, along with a new home on Hulu. But with all of that, there are some major stuff going on in these episodes, so let me highlight some of my favorite new aspects of the show, starting with the animation. Now, the animation for the show has been stellar since it debuted in 2011, as one of the first actual good pioneers of using the maximum of a blended medium, with the use of a lot of 3D and 2D elements and upside down faces. It's all been handled by Hanna-Barbera Studios, that has a repertoire of shows that are easily 4 generations of iconic, going from Top Cat to Scooby-Doo and even Jellystone. That was Ben Tennyson's first appearance in many years, albeit 2 seconds long, but I'll take the crumbs where I can get them. The studio's experience in handling different styles is really shown off here, as they handle all sorts of different animation mediums in this show, different shot compositions, and even more exaggerations and deliveries. But it's even more dynamic in Gumball, as they have no issues seamlessly blending these elements all the time. We get to see that in prime quality in the first episode, which is called The Burger. Without giving away too much from the plot, we get a pretty good blending of all the mediums rolled up into one when we had their own take on the Whopper ad in this episode. I found this ad to be absolutely amazing and hilarious. But they pretty much went headfirst into using real people in the ad, which I think is the peak of blending every possible medium into one. Now, I have no idea how Gumball does this so effortlessly, because after an episode that already had been filled with a blend of 3D and 2D elements, to have actual folks join in an ad and even on posters didn't even feel jarring like what you would normally expect from when a show tries to do this. This sort of not so uncanny blending of mediums reminds me of shows like Space Jam from 1996 with Michael Jordan, or even Who Framed Roger Rabbit from 1988, which delivered so well on the blending of mediums into one. These two shows definitely paved the way for television shows like Gumball, K-pop Demon Hunters, and even Spider-Verse, who are now inheriting those early inspirations of blending all of these mediums into one delicious rolled up burrito. But where Gumball stands out is that it is definitely pushing the limits of what can be done in that mosaic kind of animation style. Even though this episode here, The Burger, isn't quite their first venture into using real people, as they did similarly in the last episode of season 6, The Inquisition, and they also have Stussy in the episodes since the first season of the show, and she's an upside down head of a real person. But what I can definitely still say is that they still got it, and they got more to give, as they are able to retain the immersion into the show while adding live action elements. I mean, that's like a real mastery of execution if you ask me. It's mwah, chef's kiss. Another point that they are excelling in is at exaggeration, which is so well done throughout the fullness of the 20 episodes. But to really show you my point, I think a show that makes for a good comparison between good exaggeration and what I would consider to be bad exaggeration is from modern day SpongeBob. Now, I must put a precursor to this that I know exaggeration is a major principle of animation, just like squash and stretch and slow in and slow outs and all that jazz. But whenever I go back and see the hyper exaggerated faces from modern SpongeBob, it doesn't feel like comedy. It feels like you're just trying too hard to be funny, while Gumball's exaggerated expressions feels like a great addition to the show. This is reminding me a lot of that one meme that says the difference between harassment and Riz. Sorry SpongeBob, you're the harassment one. Speaking of memes though, oh my god, Gumball is beyond meta. Now, I don't know if you guys have ever watched this YouTuber named Lessons in Meme Culture. He covers how pervasive memes can be in society and just the culture in general, maybe a little bit of history how the meme originated and all of that. But Gumball attacks this so aggressively. As the show has such a hyper focus on current meme culture, it feels nearly unreal, as they could be this freaking grounded and current with all sorts of memes that have been going on over the past nearly a decade, with shots of the whole pole dodging TikTok meme thing that was going around, making jokes about billionaires naming their children weird things like
aspartame-hydroxyandronol inside your body?
No. Sounds kind of like the names billionaires give their sons.
Elon Musk, we're looking at you, and even freaking Donald Trump, who has been all over the news lately. I have no idea, maybe they knew he would have won the election. It's definitely given me prime flashbacks to stuff like The Simpsons or even Family Guy, as it sort of finds a way to replicate adult humor in a child-friendly manner. I have no idea how they're able to do this. And they also have this mind-blown meme, which is pretty cool. The ability to generate memes from this show as well is off the charts, because it creates its own set of memes that I can already see flooding my Twitter timeline for the next couple of months. I think this is such an incredible means of cementing themselves into the cultural hive mind of children and people in their mid-20s who aren't willing to let the show go. Yes, I'm talking about myself. Gumball has already been so good in comedic delivery, but their attachment to memes in this season has really surprised me, and I definitely think it will prove to be one of the greatest things for the show going forward. The memes from Gumball won't only ferment it into the internet though, but it's 100% comedy gold. Now, watching this show back in 2011 when I just entered high school, it was one of the funniest shows on the network for sure. A lot of jokes flew right over my head, maybe because I was just waiting for the new Ben 10 episodes to drop. But now I can honestly say this is probably the funniest cartoon out right now. Gumball does a thing where it isn't overtly trying to be funny, but it handled humor in such a masterful way. More than ever, the writers get how to abuse the various joke delivery techniques. It uses misdirection so well, having quick jabs that are jokes that will hit you like a freaking truck, or just baiting you with comedy and hitting you with it at the very last moment. Sort of a spoiler incoming, but a joke that really had me burst out laughing was from the episode The Portrait. The family are trying to take a perfect family photo for once, since their entire photo album is filled to the brim with bad pictures. But the process is constantly bombarded with more family members arriving, and when Nicole's parents arrive is where the joke starts, because Gumball's grandmother wants an open marriage with a guy who is young enough to be Nicole's younger brother. He is as dim-witted as he is good looking, and there's an exchange here that really had me in tears, where he makes a toucan related joke saying to the kids that they too can behave, you know, since he's a toucan or whatever. And Nicole's father bursts out into anger, saying it's three of them, you ignoramus. And I couldn't help but bursting out into laughter. I laughed so hard, man. The whole entire situation is funny. I think even the additional context that Nicole's dad is now like the cartoon version of probably Adam 22, against his will though, but the whole thing was so funny. The entire show has a lot of sneaky jokes like that, and from my memory, none of them really hit as hard as the ones that we've gotten this season. They are going to jab at you and make you die laughing, and I think I can fairly say not a lot of modern comedies in general do that, so I can really appreciate it. I find these episodes that I watch to be pretty enjoyable, and I think anyone who was a fan of the show growing up will definitely enjoy it. I'll be doing an episode by episode review if this video performs well by the grace of God, so subscribe so you don't miss that, and let me know your favorite episodes in the comments down below.